Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Beth, here to help you fulfill your potential in meditation. As most of you know, I don't have just one method that I teach to everybody, like one size fits all. Instead, I much prefer to teach people one-on-one. And the reason is that you're all different. So please use these videos as a guideline. And if there's anything that isn't quite working for you or anything that doesn't quite fit, then be in touch and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. Today's video is about learning to discern a sense door mental process. Sometimes we call these a 5-door mental process because there are 5 sense doors through which they can arise. So these are the mental processes that arise when we see a colour with the eye, hear a sound with the ear, smell a smell with the nose, taste a taste with the tongue, or feel a sensation with the body. Now, it's going to be much easier for you to discern a 5-door mental process if you are already familiar with discerning a mind door mental process. A mind door mental process is a little bit more simple than a 5-door mental process. Now, I've made a separate video on discerning mind door mental processes. So if you haven't done so already, I'd suggest that you watch that video, but not only watch the video, also do the practice, because this one's going to be much more intuitive to you if you're already familiar with the practice of discerning the mind door mental process. Now, if you are familiar with that mind door mental process, you will remember that a mind door mental process is made up of 3 different types of moments. First, we have the adverting moment, then we have 7 impulsion moments, and then possibly 2 registration moments. And these mental processes are broken up with moments of what we call bhavanga, which is a resting consciousness. Now, the 5-door mental process is very similar to the mind door mental process, but we have 4 extra moments tagged on the beginning that help us to receive and interpret the information that we're getting from the senses. So, what are the moments that make up a typical 5-door mental process? Well, the first moment will be an adverting moment, and this helps us choose of all of the very many sense objects that we could pay attention to in any given moment, which one are we going to choose? So what are we going to look at? What are we going to listen to? What are we going to smell? The adverting moment chooses the object. Following the adverting moment, there will then be what we call a sense consciousness moment. And this consciousness moment arises at the sense door. So at the eye, ear, nose, tongue, or body. And this is where the sense object contacts the sense door. So where the colour contacts the eye, where the sound contacts the ear, the smell contacts the nose, the taste contacts the tongue, the sensation contacts the body sense, and there will be a moment of sense consciousness. Following that, there will then be a receiving moment, and this is where that sense impression is received in the mind. Next will be an investigating moment, where that sense impression is investigated. And based on that investigation, there will then be a decision moment. And in that decision moment, the decision is made: how are we going to pay attention to this sense object? Are we going to like it? Are we going to hate it? Are we going to fear it? How are we going to pay attention to it? Based on that decision, there will then arise 7 impulsion moments. In Pali, we use the word javana, and these do the bulk of the work in the mental process. If we've decided to like the object, then there will be 7 moments of like. If we've decided to hate the object, then there will be 7 moments of hate, and so on. Following those impulsion moments, there either then may or may not be 2 registration moments. And these just further cognize the object to end the mental process. Now, as with mind door mental processes, the 5-door mental processes are also broken up by moments of bhavanga, by moments of resting consciousness. So we have a 5-door mental process, a few moments of bhavanga, and then usually we have a mind door mental process following. So, what do we do if we want to discern these 5-door mental processes in practice? Well, if you've already developed jhana concentration, then that would be a good place to start. Develop your concentration up to the highest jhana that you've attained. If you haven't already practiced the jhanas, then you want to develop a deep and stable access concentration with any other meditation subject. Having developed your concentration, you then want to bring your attention to the heart until you can clearly see the mind moments arising and passing away very quickly, one after the other. When you can clearly see the mind moments, then we want to prompt a 5-door mental process. So let's say that we want to prompt an I-door mental process. We want to start with the ambient light that's coming in through the eyelid and activating the eye sensitivity. If we're sat in a dark room, then we can use a torch light or a candle light to help us so that there is some light hitting the eye. We then want to pay attention to that light. And as we pay attention to that light, we're going to prompt an I-door mental process. As we prompt that I-door mental process, we want to bring attention to our heart area and see if we can notice that 5-door mental process arise. Now, the 5-door mental process will arise very quickly, so we might need to have several goes before we can see that 5-door mental process clearly. When we can see the 5-door mental process clearly, we then want to practice to discern the individual moments within that mental process. So seeing the adverting moment first, then the sense consciousness moment, then the receiving moment, the investigating moment, the decision moment, the impulsion moments, and possibly 2 registration moments. Now, at first, it might be too quick for you to see all of those moments individually within the same mental process. And so what we can do is we can practice to see the first moment, so the adverting moment, in one mental process. And we can try again and again. So just practicing to catch that first adverting moment in many, many 5-door mental processes, in many, many mental processes. When we feel confident catching that first mind moment, then we can try with the second. Then we can try with the third. Then we can try with the fourth. So we're just isolating one moment and trying to catch that one mind moment in many different 5-door mental processes until we become confident. When we can discern those mind moments individually, then our wisdom might be sharp enough to see all of the different mind moments within one 5-door mental process. Now, when we get to that stage, there is still one more step. And that step is to see the different mental factors within each of those mind moments. Now, I'm going to make a separate video on discerning the different mental factors within each mind moment. So if the practice is going well for you and if you feel ready, then watch that video and give it a go. So that's all I have to say today on discerning the 5-door or the sense door mental process. It's a very subtle level of practice, but it's also a fascinating stage of practice. So what I would suggest is that you get off of those screens, get onto the meditation cushions and actually do some practice. If there's anything that's confusing you, anything you're unsure about, then be in touch and I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. As most of you know, I do all of my work on a donation basis, so I encourage you to support me either through Patreon or through my website so that I can continue to make these videos. Thank you so much for your support. Wishing you the best with your meditation.